Nuhaus.
Hello, today we're at Charrington Road and we're joined this morning by our previous client, Eoin Gallagher, and behind us here you can see the impressive eco house we designed and built for Eoin and his family. He's kindly let us back in today for a quick interview and some photos. I'm going to catch up with Eoin on site today. Eoin, could you just give us a bit of history on the site and the project itself before we started the planning process?
So the site is the side garden of my parents' house. It was bought as a double site by the gentleman that my parents bought their house off when the area was built, when the estate was built, and it had a large concrete shed at the back of it. It really was a good size site, but until Chris and the guys came along, we didn't realise quite how good size a site it was and what we'd be able to fit on it. So my wife and I decided that with the prompting of my parents, we decided that we were going to look at building them a house on the site. So Mum and Dad met Chris and the guys from Plantech at the Ideal Homes, and they had a great chat with them. And it turned out that from everyone's perspective, it was better for us to build the house. So that's what we did, and we're delighted with it so far.
Very good, very good. I remember being out here at the first survey. It was deceivingly a big space because it had the wall and the tree overhang, and it was sort of screened with planting and hedging at the front here. But once we surveyed and we got the plans together for you, it became obvious that we could fit a house in there. How did you find the design process and the 3D drawings and visuals that we provided for you?
The design process was amazing. I think my wife had an idea in her head of exactly what she wanted from moment one, and Chris and the guys made it happen. We were very traditional. It's a very simple, straightforward house, but it was done exactly as we wanted it and exactly as we hoped it would be. And I think the day that we walked inside it first and kind of saw the layout and saw everything done, it was amazing to kind of feel that the drawing that I think she'd done on a napkin before we came to see the guys, it was alive, and it was ours. It was it was a brilliant process.
And you went for the eco house as opposed to the traditional build. Was there anything that drove that decision apart from finance or turnaround time frames? Or
no, you've just hit the nail on the head, Chris. It was literally just finance and turnaround time frames. It was going to be quicker and it was going to be cheaper, and obviously that's in this day and age, that's the key.
Yeah. And you're lucky to have the accommodation next door for your mum and dad.
Yeah.
I know COVID was a big issue during the process. How was the family through the whole building works on site, and how did you find the Nuhaus team and crew on site for the works?
You would imagine that you know, a big family all stuck in on top of each other would be difficult, and you would imagine that you add construction, which is taking over half of the front garden and kind of creating muck and dirt and everything else, would cause great upset and great annoyance. It didn't, because the guys from Nuhaus and the guys from Plantech were always ready to fix anything, any problem. They were out. We were in a position whereby our initial slab was laid, I think, a couple of months before the house was ready to be constructed. But the guys kept an eye on it. They made sure that everything was done properly, and there were no issues and no concerns. And any small issues that arose were immediately dealt with, and dealt with very efficiently and effectively. Very good.
It's quite impressive structure. You can see it next to your mum and dad's and the street here. But we fitted triple glazed systems. We have a heat recovery system. How do you find the comfort of living in an A-rated home and an eco structure?
It's really interesting because, you know, you're living in a house which is designed to be cool in the summer and warm in the winter, and it sounds like that's a wonderful idea, and you can't imagine that it works like that, but it does. The systems that are in place, all the different bits and pieces that the guys put in have worked fantastically. For example, on a really warm day, we have a fan system which will fan fresh air into the house. It really makes a huge difference. And then on a cold day, the place is snug and toasty and warm the whole time. It's really brilliant.
Very good. Now, we had to design this and build it to specifications. So we spent a lot of time working with yourself and Karen on kitchens, sanitaryware, wardrobes, electrical points and so on. With traditional builds, there is scope to make some changes on site or make some amendments. Is there anything different that you would do now looking back, or were you happy with the overall design and build process and having everything designed and factory fitted post installation?
So I suppose we've been in not quite a year yet, more or less a year, and there's nothing that we have found that hasn't fitted into what we were looking for. There's nothing that we've said, oh, I wish we hadn't done that, or I wish we'd done something different. That's probably luck more than anything else, but no, it's been perfect for us. No issues at all.
Very good. And we also got an attic home office for yourself on the third level. Are you happy with that and the views you have here?
The views are spectacular. Be it kind of foggy or icy or beautiful as it is today, the views are brilliant, and it gives the window from the attic it's slightly distracting at times when you're trying to work. You're kind of taken away to the mountains, which you can see out through the window. But no, the space in the attic is absolutely fantastic as a home office. Even for taller people, it's a really, really good, comfortable space.
Very good, very good. Eoin, there's always snags, there's always some issues after you move into a home. How did you find the backup service from Nuhaus to get back to site and rectify any issues you had with? I know there's some paving slab issue, a small guttering issue. How did you find the backup support from the team?
There were a couple of small issues. There was a leak in the roof, and Chris designed a kind of a very funky roof layout, and there was a slight leak in that. The guys were out within 24 hours, 48 I think for one of them, had it sorted, had it fixed. Nothing was too much difficulty. It was absolutely brilliant. The last thing I think I'd like to say, and I think it's really important to say it, the guys at Plantech and Nuhaus and the design team and everybody else, they really took into consideration our personal circumstances. They took into consideration all the issues that we had and that the world had during the planning process. Instead of being a relatively short build, it ended up from start to finish taking nearly 3 years. But at the same time, everything has been done brilliantly, and I think the best compliment that I can give is that the neighbours, who wouldn't be shy in making a comment, have all said that the house fits perfectly into the local area, and I think it's a great testament to everyone involved at how well they dealt with the planning process and how well they dealt with Dún Laoghaire Rathdown, and the few issues that cropped up, as they always do. I don't think we could be any happier with the decision we made and with the final product. So
You're very welcome.
thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome. Thanks very much, Eoin.